Age or shelf corps. Should you or should you not invest in one? Right? A shelf corporation is also known as an age corp, or a shelf company is a corporation that's formed but not actually in use. Right? Just like it says, it's been sitting on the shelf, not doing anything. Right? These entities can have either your EINs, can have years of filed tax returns, and somehow even have bank accounts from the past. So think of it like you're doing a business acquisition. So a lot of these, there's a lot of scammers out there that are just reselling old corps that have been dissolved. So you
Uh,
really have to make sure all the stuff that I'm gonna teach you next week makes sense, right? A little more of an advanced level. So you may have to watch this recording a couple times. But again, the more information you can understand and implement, right? That's really the key here. And that's my goal for you guys. So, formation coming formed in states with tax benefits, anonymity, and low filing fees and regulations. You always see a lot of them in Delaware, Nevada, Wyoming, Texas, Montana. I've seen a lot of them as well in Colorado, New Mexico. Same point, but they can run anywhere from as low as 650 all the way to 10,000 or more, depending on
hmm.
the age and the perceived longevity. I've actually even seen some either around 20 or 20 to 30,000. And some of these people, I think, what was it called, like Beverly Hills Corporation or something. It was they were trying to sell even tax returns and business credit. This whole entire
Ouch.
thing, honestly, is just it's the biggest crock of shit that I
Uh-huh.
that I that I've seen. I'm gonna actually show you an example here. There are some benefits here, right? It allows new or small business owners to appear as an established business, right? Saving time and expenses of forming new companies and new corporations. It can help you apply for certain contracts, government bidding, gain investors' trust, and secure business lines of credits with an established business versus being a startup. Typically you need 2 years in business for all the major banks to look at you. And so that can be your shortcut to do this. Or there's pros and cons. You just have to make sure that you're safe, from that. So you have to be caution. A lot of fraudsters out there that are selling you things with past liabilities. It could be, legitimate reasons. There should be legitimate reasons for purchasing a shelf company, not just by, manipulating credit system isn't just one of them, right? The best thing you can do is just form 2 or 3 companies. Yeah, if you're operating one, just have one or two. That's what I did, where I had two other companies that were sitting there, and I have my main operating account with all the cash flow and revenue was going through, but I had one other one that was the backup, another one I was starting from my tech company. So again, time flies and there's ones that are out there, but you have to be careful with people like this. Okay, because these are the type of people that are going to come and say, look, I'm going to get you up to $500,000 with a ready shelf corp.
Guys,
Stated
these people do
income,
that
no tax
all
returns,
the
no
time.
collateral. So I say these are one of the biggest parrots of them all.
Parrots. Yes.
Parrots
Yes.
on steroids,
Yes.
right? And so a lot of these people are trying to really, really con you, right? You see that $500,000 flashy information. I don't need to provide anything. No, dude, it doesn't work like that, guys. You need to be able to really set things up properly, from that again. But there are pros, right? Bypass the minimum 2-year requirements, potential to get larger business lines, B-locks, term loans, access to contracts and bidding opportunities, depending on what your use of funds is for, and your business, enhanced corporate image. May look like a little bit of a bigger company, right? Cons, potential legal and ethical issues, unknown liabilities, right? The cost would be a lot more than it was if you establish it yourself, lack of business history, reputation risks, and company complexity due diligence, right? At the same point, there's no guarantee or credit for doing this, right? You're not going to be guaranteed getting funding. Essentially, I remember because I've set these up for clients in the past, and unfortunately, um, my experience has always, I kind of stopped doing them. Again, I know how to do everything, right? The good, the bad, and the ugly. And setting these things up, the one of the reasons why I stopped was that these people were just trying to trick these lenders about what they were doing just to get funding. and it just didn't really seem the as more ethical, and just the quality of people that I was dealing with weren't very like strong business people, right? And I just said, look, I'd rather deal with somebody that has a real business going through and actually needs it versus trying to do this whole facade, from it though. But even at the point when we were establishing the business credit from Duns and Bradstreet, there's a lot of these minute little small things that if they
What?
catch on, this was a
Like
shell
what?
corp.
Like what are the minute little things?
So when we went to go and establish a business credit with Duns and Bradstreet to get their Duns number,
Mhm.
and we had, it wasn't working, so we had to call it in, and the the Duns and Bradstreet representative was like, "This is a shelf company." Now that guarantor, the owner, was locked into the DNB system, which now any other company that he was going to be dealing with, that red flag was going to follow him. You're going to have to look at the business credit report, right? Or the tax liabilities. If there's a tax lien and you acquire the company, guess what? That's your tax lien now. Or
Ooh.
a
How many
lawsuit
people
is
want to
something.
take on other people's shit? That's like catching an STD. Do you really want that? Creditchlamydia.com. You better be careful. You better be careful, people, before you catch some shit out here in the financial world trying to get a hack, trying to get a shortcut. Anytime you
Credit.
hear about a hack, it's probably something crazy. Stop cutting corners and just build out proper business credit. Everything you need is in this program to build out proper business credit. You'll get there. You'll get there. And focus on revenue. Because when you really bring in revenue, then Anthony can just throw all the fire on it.
Oh, good. But again, if you still want one, all right, here's my tips on how to be able to set things up. So do your due diligence. Number one, you want to buy from a trusted dealer, not a parrot on steroids from some of these
Yep.
shady people.
Yep.
If you sign up with this, if you register with this businesscreditreports.com, you're able to pull business credit on any company.
Yep.
And so
Without their
invest,
approval. Without their approval, because
that's
that's a different
correct. It's the wild,
personal.
wild west with business credit.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And so I'm direct with Experian and Equifax. I can pull business credit through my account. Again, this is a third party site that you can do it yourself. So if you were going to buy from this trusted dealer or anybody in case, and they're like, yeah, I'm going to sell you this shelf corp, pay $56, get the Advantage Pro. It'll combine your Duns and Bradstreet, Equifax, and Experian. I think even credits, if I'm not mistaken, all in one. So you can see in a peripheral view if anything has ever been established on this report, on this business. Okay, so that's the first thing I would want you to do. Once you find the right company, you want to make sure that you choose the right corporate name. If it's XYZ trucking, well, again, you box yourself into the trucking industry. The more subjective you are with your name allows you to be flexible in what you want to do. It doesn't matter what your website can say something, the corporate name powered by, X can be something else. So again, you want to be able to make sure that you choose the right name that's subjective. Then you're going to go through the same exact thing that I've been teaching you guys, right? The business address, phone number, 411, yellow pages, local listings, online presence, Google, Facebook, Instagram. Take some time over here, right? Get your EIN, registered. But here's the difference here. If you're looking at how a bank reviews, right, the metadata of your company and your website, right? Remember I told you that Citizens knows exactly when you created your email address. So you want to make sure they're going to something called a Who's, which is a domain lookup. And if you just bought this 3, 4, 5-year-old corp, and then you registered a brand new website, right? A little bit of confliction there's a story that you have to go overcome.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? Right. So, okay, cool. You've had this company been operating for 5 years, but you just created a website last month.
Looks
Red
fishy.
flag. That looks fishy. Denied. So the hack around it is to get an aged website. Okay. And we found a company that we refer our business to called Business Funding Websites. And the people that do want it, because we do have the resources on how to get these. Convince me why it's a good idea to do it, because I want to provide you my honest opinion, because
Yes.
I'm always raw and real about what's the best way of doing it.
Yes. What is the good reasons? What are good reasons to have an H corp, Anthony?
Um, Marco's situation,
Okay.
he has a company,
Yep.
right? Ran into some trouble. He has 3, 4 MCAs. Something happened with the business credit. He's not going to be able to divert that to get business funding because of how his current business is looking. It's going to be a lot harder to do that. So he has a running business, taking that shelf company, working it, building it up, having the revenue flow through the other company, doing that for 3 months. That's a good use case of why I would do what I would do here. So still want one? You got to build business credits, register your Duns and Bradstreet, apply for your 3 to 4 vendor accounts, obtain your ADPX scores, right? As I mentioned before, if DMB finds out about your age corp, it could hinder you. There are certain other aspects of the purchase business trade lines. And again, I know all the people and know all the sources. Essentially, you're going to be able to get like a 30,000 Experian reference on a business credit report with a 50,000 SBFE. It's going to report to them. They're going to be added within 30 to 60 days. They're not cheap. In the industry, they're going to go around 2,500 and up. Of course, if you want a larger one, it's going to go up from there. Right. So there's a little bit of the shortcuts for how people use this. They get the Age Corp, they build it up, get the Age website, they add the aged business trade lines, from lines of credits or term loans. I actually remember having, and again, little small things that somebody came to me with, who bought these aged business trade lines, and they added a term loan, and they put the term loan as like, I think it was like 100,000 term loan that they added on the business credit. I had the potential to get this person about $300,000 to $400,000, but they made an error on this. $100,000, $100,000 or $200,000. I forgot which one it was, but the monthly payment that's being reported on the business credit from that purchased business trade line was close to about $8,000 or $9,000 a month. What do you think happened to his debt service ratio? Right, that 1.25 ratio. So he was making good money, but that trade line had to be closed because the debt was too high for him to qualify. And he accepted one loan, so we had a UCC being put on. We were rushing to get that updated, and he lost $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 because of that. So again, cause and effect. But if you do a line of credit or if it's closed, it will help you in the fact of increasing your approvals, 3x on approvals, higher loan amounts. But that's just one of the components of the 4 pillars that I'm teaching you. Okay, so it's giving you, the total vision of how this all works. Opening up a bank account if you run to 3 months with the business activity, right? Create your funding plan, submits, and going from there. So that's kind of a little bit of the peripheral view. A lot of the principles that I've been teaching you, you have to implement into that. You want your checklist, got to go through this whole entire thing. Right? Not easy. So if you're going to do it, you got to do it properly. Don't think that you're going to get your H Corp and a month later you're going off for funding. You're going to get your $500,000 just like that one website, goes through. So know the rules of the game, review and understand your 4 pillars,